All right. If you do you want to take yourself off mute? Is there anything else that I can show you with this? Do you know how to get from one spot to the next? Like if you're in week 1, okay, it should automatically open up to week 1 for you. Okay, so there it is right there. When you come out, when you click on your course, it should automatically open week 1 during week 1 for you. And there's the 2 chapters that we're going to do right here that we're going to work on. This is how you get to live lecture. Then, of course, there's your book. So then what you're going to do is you'll go to your next section, okay? Chapter 1, Understanding Ethics, and this is where you'll see there's your discussion, okay? There's your assignment. And then when you're ready to work on the next section, okay, I'm sitting here chatting, and you're not even on the line. You're on twice. Did something happen? Oh, you hit a button? Okay, so we got you on here twice. I don't know what you did, but it's no biggie. Okay, so did you see me navigating through this at all? Can you come off mute? It'll be a little easier for us. All right. The one thing that I do want to show everybody is on the top part of the contents here, course introduction. This is going to give you an idea of what we're going to cover during the course. And then down here is where I will put any announcements, like today I put in here what work is due. Okay. All right, Chelsea, thanks. So this is what work is due. So make sure you look at those announcements every day too. All righty. Hey, Randy. How are you doing? How are you, Randy? Randy, have you been on into the new My Course Connection yet?
Yes, ma'am. It was confusing, but I found you.
You did? Okay. So I'm just going through this just a little bit. If you'll stay off mute, then we can talk back and forth. So when you automatically open up your course, it is going to take you to week 1. All righty. And then the live lecture link is always going to be in the same spot. Okay. So if you hit, that's week 1. If you go to week 2 over here, there's how you get to live lecture. Okay. Same with week 3. It's just on that opening page for the week. So that's where you'll find live lecture. And then on the introduction page, just keep your eyes open for announcements right here. All righty. And then this section allows you to ask me any questions that you don't mind sharing with the class. If you have something personal that you want to talk to me about, then just shoot me an email. But right here, the student forum, that's where you can post any questions. And if I don't see it right away, then maybe another student will see it and be able to help you out as well. So, so navigating from one spot to the next, you'll go to your week 1, okay? And then what you're going to do, there's your textbook. And so you're going to go like down here to next section. So this is where we go into chapter 1. And you'll see down here that you got your discussion due March 20th. You've got your assignment 1.1. 1.1 right here, and it tells you when it's due, okay? So, and then you just go to week 2, which is right here, or I'm doing chapter 2. So same thing, watch a video here. There's your assignment. due March 22nd, and then here's your quiz. All right. So do either of you have any questions about how to navigate through the new site? Anybody? Are you guys still with me? Hello? All right, so let's get to live lecture.
Yes, ma'am. I'm good. My phone is tripping.
Okay. Well, we can't have that. All right, I think I've had Randy, you and Chelsea, both of you in a class before, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Can you see the live lecture screen? And you can chat with me if you want or
Yes.
respond. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. So this is how you can reach me. I've also put my telephone number in my course connection if you need to reach me via phone as well. We just start this from the beginning. All right. Live lectures are always going to be Monday from 6 to 6:45 or 6:30, depending on how long it takes us to get through them. I just want to go over a couple of things with both of you. Late discussions are not going to be accepted. So if they're due on Tuesday, that's when you've got to get them in. Your peer posts, of course, are due on Saturday. Your discussions and your peer posts must be thoughtful. Good job, excellent post, that type of thing is not going to be acceptable. You need to do at least a paragraph with 4 or 5 sentences, okay? So did anything happen to you guys say to make you smile? Share.
Just going to school and learning how to drive these big trucks.
Okay. Are you going to truck driving school?
Yes, ma'am.
Plus you're going to this school? Because we don't have a truck driving class, do we?
No, ma'am. I'm going to truck driving school.
Well, good for you. You're busy. All right, Chelsea, OGE finally hooked the electric up. Good for you. That is something to smile about. Well, good, guys. It sounds like you guys both have something to smile about. So we're going to, chapter 1, understanding ethics. We're going to define ethics. We're going to explain the role of values in ethical decision making, understand ethical theories, discuss ethical relativism, and explain an ethical dilemma and apply a process to resolving it. So in the text, ethics is defined as how we try to live our lives according to a standard of right or wrong behavior in both how we think and behave towards others and how we would like them to behave towards us. So can you think of anything at all based in Christian principles that you can apply to this definition? Anybody familiar with the golden rule? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's pretty much what ethics is in a nutshell. So understanding right and wrong. Many of us have a moral compass. It's our ability to judge what is right and what is wrong and act accordingly. Standards, we develop our moral standards several different ways by osmosis. And that means, we observe our parents, our family, our friends, and our peers. Our religious beliefs have a lot to do with how our moral behaviors developed. Experience with other human beings. Ethnic background sometimes has a play in it. Our school. Media definitely. And personal role models or mentors. Value system is what you do when you formalize your morals and values into a code of behavior. So value as a definition denotes the worth of an item. So a person's value can be said to have a specific worth to them. So intrinsic value is a good thing of and in itself, and it's pursued for its own sake. So for example, we pursue happiness, health, and self-respect. Instrumental value is the pursuit of value as a good way to reach another, like money's valued for what it can buy you, like a new house, a new car, cosmetics, clothes. That's instrumental value. So who agrees with these statements? And I need feedback from both of you. Who agrees that lying is wrong? Who agrees that stealing is wrong and killing is wrong? Do you guys all agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Chelsea? Chelsea? All right, so let's look at it this way, Randy. If lying is wrong, what if you're lying to protect a loved one's life? Does it automatically become right? Or is there a gray area? Is stealing wrong? What if you were stealing formula for your hungry baby? Is it still wrong, or is there a gray area? Is killing wrong? What if you had to kill someone in self-defense to protect your children, your life, or that of your loved ones? So do you see how, yes, black and white on the surface?
Yes, ma'am, you're right. It's a gray side.
Yeah.
Where I'm from, snitching is allowed anyway.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, where I'm from, snitching is not allowed anyway.
Oh, really? Okay. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about virtue ethics. Hold on here. I'm going to move that up. Can you guys see these boxes that I'm moving around?
No.
Okay. All right, good deal. So you are there, Chelsea. Okay. Good job.
Yeah, I finally got to the house.
Okay. All right, good deal. So we're going to talk about virtue ethics. We're going to talk about utilitarianism or ethics for the greater good, and we're going to talk about universal ethics. So virtue ethics, the definition is living one's life according to a commitment to the achievement of a clear ideal. So you ask yourself, okay, what kind of a person would I like to become, and how do I go about becoming that person? There's some limitations. Societies place different emphasis on different virtues. So for example, in Greek society during Aristotle's time valued wisdom, courage, and justice. On the other hand, Christian society during that same time valued faith, hope, and charity. So you can see that there was a difference in the values of what people valued. So do you see the value conflict in both of those? Greeks valued wisdom, courage, and justice. Christians valued faith, hope, and charity. So complete difference there. Universalism. Definition, it's more focused on the outcome of your actions rather than the virtue of the actions themselves. So it focuses on the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So there are some limitations. The idea that the ends justifies the means. So, you know, you're getting to the end by any means that you can. If that's all you focus on for doing the greatest good for the greatest number of people, no one's held accountable for the actions. So for instance, an example, the requirement to vaccinate children against diseases such as polio, measles, and whooping cough, doing this serves the public good. But how are we going to get there? Are we trampling over people's rights to make the decisions to vaccinate their children for the greater good? So do you see what they're talking about as far as the limitation? And do you understand what utilitarianism is? It's whatever is for the greater good and not just the individual. Universal, actions that are taken out of duty and obligation to a purely moral ideal rather than based on the needs of the situation. So it's the complete reverse of the limitation of utilitarianism. For instance, if you recognize, here's an example of universal, if you recognize the value of human life above all else as a universal ethical principle, then how would you be able to justify using human embryos to harvest stem cells for researching diseases such as Parkinson's and spinal injuries? So that's universal. Ethical relativism. This is the belief that nothing is objectively right or wrong. That right or wrong. Okay, somebody's coming in and out. Okay. Relativism implies that there's some degree of flexibility as opposed to strictly black or white rules. And that's where we get back to, is stealing wrong? Is lying wrong? Is murder wrong? Or is killing wrong? So, and here's how we define an ethical dilemma. It's a situation in which there's no obvious right or wrong decision, but rather a right or right answer. In other words, choosing the lesser of the two evils. It requires you to make a right choice knowing full well that one is that you're leaving an equally right choice undone, that you're likely to suffer something bad as a result of that choice. You contradict a personal ethical principle in making that choice, and you're abandoning an ethical value of your community or society in making that choice. Hey, Hadesha, can you come off mute for a minute?
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Good, I'm glad to see you again. I know I've had you in a class before too, a couple classes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you could join us. Okay, so this is ethical dilemma defined. There is no right or wrong decision, but rather a right or right answer. So I need everybody to come off mute because we're going to go over a ethical dilemma right here. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you. So you live in a small rural town in Oklahoma, and you have just lost your job at a local gas station. Your income is crucial to your family. The best paying job you can find is at the local meatpacking plant, but you are a vegetarian and feel strongly that killing animals for food is unjust. What are you going to do?
Go to work.
Okay, so regardless of whether or not you're a vegetarian, you got to work, right?
Got to feed your family.
Okay, anybody else? Chelsea, how about you? What would you do? Okay, so who just answered me?
Randy.
Okay, I thought so, Randy. Okay, Hadesha, can you come off mute and tell me what you would do? Hadesha and Chelsea.
I would go to work regardless.
Yeah, okay. Because you have to feed your family, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. And how about you, Chelsea? All right. Well, maybe we've lost Chelsea. I don't know. All right. So that is just an example of an ethical dilemma. There's no right or wrong answer. Okay. All right. So let's go to chapter. Do you guys have any questions about chapter 1 at all?
No.
All right. All right, so let's go into chapter 2. Hey, Daisha, while I've got you on the phone, have you had a chance to go in and look at the new My Course Connection?
Yes, I actually seen it.
Okay, so did you have any problems navigating around it?
No.
Okay, good. All right. So let's talk about defining business ethics.
I did answer your question, Debbie,
Yeah,
to the job thing. I said, good things come to those who wait. I was in a really bad job for almost a year before I found my really good job. So you go to that job until you can find something better.
yeah, that is a really good point, Chelsea. You do what you have to do to put food on the table, right?
Yeah, I mean, I worked at Walmart for almost a year, and I have an autoimmune disease that really makes it really painful for me to stand and to walk. And it, I had to do what I had to do. I have a house and, a husband. I don't have any kids, but I had to do what I had to do to pay the bills.
Right. And there's a lot of us that are faced with making that kind of decision too. We've got to look at the big picture as opposed to the smaller little picture. So that is really a great example.
Well, now I'm in a job where I can sit all day,
Oh, that's good.
so I'm not in constant pain.
Yeah. Well, see, you did what you had to do until you found something that you could do.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. So let's move on to chapter 2. So we're going to define business ethics. We're going to identify an organization's stakeholders. We're going to discuss the position that business ethics is an oxymoron. And we're going to talk about the world's most ethical companies. And we'll talk a little bit about how executives and employees seek to justify their unethical behavior. And certainly nowadays we hear a lot about businesses and people behaving badly, for sure. So this is a good one. So the definition, the application of standards of moral behavior to business situations. That's it in a nutshell. That's business ethics. So remember in chapter 1, basic ethical concepts are what is right and what is wrong. Business ethics also have 2 other perspectives. Descriptive, it's a summation of the customs and attitudes observed within the business, so what's acceptable and what's not. And normative behavior is the evaluation to the degree to which the observed customs can be said to be ethical. So how ethical is the company? So bottom line, ethical behavior should be the same both inside and outside a situation. Here is a definition of stakeholders for a company. You've got, of course, your shareholders. They're the ones that own the company. Your employees are stakeholders. Your customers are stakeholders or shareholders. Suppliers and vendors, the federal government, your creditors, and your community, all stakeholders in an organization. So everybody is impacted. All those people are impacted one way or the other on how a company does business ethically or unethically. So oxymoron, a combination of 2 contradictory terms. So is business ethics an oxymoron? Can you conduct business ethically is what it's pretty much asking. So an oxymoron, examples, jumbo shrimp, deafening silence, pretty ugly, authentic reproduction. So can you tell me how the term business ethics could be classified as an oxymoron? And are all businesses unethical? You can type it out in the chat box if you want, guys. Some people automatically think that business ethics is an oxymoron because their thought is that that businesses out there are running, but they're not necessarily ethical. So there's where the oxymoron comes into play. Is it fair to classify all businesses as unethical? What do you guys say? Anybody at all? Remember, we need participation in order to get credit.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Not all businesses are alike, right, Hadesha? Good. Okay. Good, Chelsea. Thank you so much, guys. I did some research to figure out, to find out who some of the most ethical companies in the world were. In 2016, this company, Ethisphere, this organization, rates the most ethical companies, and they use 3 areas to judge it: promoting ethical business standards and practices internally, do they enable managers, employees to make good choices, and are they shaping future industry standards by introducing best practices? Honorees in the past have historically outperformed others financially. And in 2016, there were 131 honorees spanning 21 countries, 5 continents, representing 45 industries. So let's take a look. Okay, Cleveland Clinic, that is a huge clinic in Ohio. They have a great reputation for their medical advances. Colgate-Palmolive, who hasn't heard of them? Our toothpastes come from there. Dell Computers, Ford Motor, General Electric, Hasbro Toys, Levi Strauss, Marriott, and Microsoft. So that's just a sampling of some of the most ethical companies. Justifying unethical behavior. So, you know, the first thing that you, when you hear of a company or a CEO or somebody in a company that's behaved unethically, they always come out, instead of owning up to it and admitting the wrongdoing, they will come out with a spin. And typically they're trying to rationalize their behavior. And some of those are, like, number 1, a belief that the activity was within reasonable, ethical, and legal limits, and that is, it is not really illegal or immoral. Second one, a belief that the activity is in the individual or the corporation's best interests, that the individual would somehow be expected to undertake that activity, so they're rationalizing their unethical behavior by saying that was in the company's best interest. Number 3, a belief that the activity is safe because it will never be found out by the public. And 4, a belief that because the activity helps the company will condone it and even protect the person who engages in it. So there's 4 rationalizations that people will have when they behave unethically. And I'm going to end the lecture with this little cartoon. I thought it was funny. We've got to draw the line on unethical behavior, but draw it in pencil. That means so that we can erase it. So, does anybody have any questions about anything?